Welcome back to Baltimore's best damn sports show, Charm City Beat. You're probably wondering why I got a Steelers fan next to me. Well, it's because I am one for fairness, and the Ravens played the Steelers this week, looking to bounce back, and we're going to talk about it. So yeah, big weekend, rivalry weekend. We know how it goes. Baltimore versus Pittsburgh, one of the best rivalries in the NFL. But before we get to that, we got to recap last week's game and the one that just took place. So right out the gates, Ravens lost to the Chiefs. Virtually expected. I mean, it was a very close game at the end. I think if they were to lose any game, this is the one that they, to lose. I mean, it's better to lose to them than to, unfortunately, what actually followed this past weekend. Us losing terribly to the Browns, 40-25 at home. Now, watching that game, that was heartbreaking. I mean, you're at home. You're in Baltimore. First things first. You're in Baltimore. Baltimore plays good at home, but Baltimore played like it didn't have a damn defense to save its life. You were watching, you told me.
Oh, I did. Yeah, I watched almost the entire game. Being a Steelers fan, I'm not going to lie. I love it.
Of course.
But if you had told me that, weeks 3 and 4 were going to be the way they were for the Ravens, I would have said that you were dreaming, because they went from playing really good in the first 2 weeks, and between the way they looked, the way the Steelers looked, I figured it was going to be a Ravens sweep contest. But I think it's going to be a game this weekend. I really do.
Yeah, it's going to be a dogfight. I mean, and like with any, and that's the thing, going into the Browns, you always got to be worried about them, because I don't care. The Browns could play shit against any team in the NFL, but for some reason, when they show up to Pittsburgh or Baltimore, that's when they decide to go real hard. And that's what happened. They didn't just go hard. They absolutely destroyed. Nick Chubb had a day.
Yes, he did.
Against a non-existent defense. 165 yards, 8.3 yards per carry on 20 rushes. Not to even mention the touchdowns.
Yeah.
And, the one bright point about the defense, I'm not sure if you saw it, Marlon Humphreys easily could be one of the best corners in the NFL. He single-handedly shut down Odell Beckham.
He did.
That's nothing short of amazing, because Odell Beckham is one of the best wide receivers in the NFL today. But where the Ravens defense, I think, focused so much on OBJ, I think Landry was able to take off, and again, we couldn't stop him.
Yeah. I mean, him and Chubb, they just couldn't hold him.
Yeah, I mean, they had a field day. Now, the thing that, when you switch sides to the offense, I mean, you got Lamar Jackson, and in Lamar Jackson, what I like about him, he looks unfazed a lot of the time, and he's very humble. He's not afraid to admit when it's his fault. But let's look at his stats. I mean, he had an interesting day. I mean, it was a mixed bag, but obviously not enough to win. I mean, he threw for 3 touchdowns. He threw 24 for 34, 247 passing yards. The where he fell off was the 2 interceptions.
Great.
And, it's like, I think he had been pretty good up until, last week, honestly. And, of course, he had Mark Ingram's first fumble of the season, which is like, where did that come from? The guy's been playing like a beast all season.
Yep.
But, I mean, when you think about it from, at least me, from what I'm looking at, you got 2 things that equate to the offense. I think the O-line. Baltimore has not had a good O-line in years. And, it's like the saving grace of this offense is the fact you have Lamar Jackson, who can sense pressure, who can get out of the way. But, unfortunately, he wasn't even able to really get out of there. And if they don't start investing in the offensive line, I don't see the Ravens having long-term, success. I mean, now, don't get me wrong. We have Orlando Brown Jr., who is a massive human being who can swallow up most sins. I mean, he's still young. And then we have Powers. And, of course, we have an aging Yonda. So, yes, 3 pieces out of 5 aren't bad. But there's still a whole other side of the line that's falling apart. And I don't know how much the Ravens are going to be able to survive without that. You have to get the blocking up front. Lamar Jackson is special of an athlete he is.
Very much.
There's only so much you're going to be able to do when he can't get a block. And another big issue, and I mean, we're turning this into the complaint about the Ravens episode, but it is what it is. Harbaugh's decision making. I like aggressive gameplay, but there's a time and place for it. Last week, going for 2, or going for it on 4th down, and then going for it on 2. I mean, there was a bunch of just going for it on reasons you didn't have to. You score on the Chiefs, and you kick the short field goal. They're a team that can score astronomically high really quick. And you going for 2 is like, what's the point?
Yep. That's the kind of questionable play calling that'll kill a game in an instant.
Yeah.
You can't do that and expect to win a game.
You can't at all. There's no way in the world that you can do that. But here we are sitting at 2-2. Now, talking about the Steelers, because we have you on the table. We don't get to talk about the Steelers too often, for good reason, JK. You guys have gotten off to a very interesting start. You're now 1-3.
Yes, it's been a rough first 3 weeks. A lot of things went wrong. We lost Ben for the season.
Yeah.
And that was another factor in what I thought was going to make the Ravens series really tough for us. But Mason Rudolph has really proved his worth the last 2 weeks. His stats, the game that he replaced Ben in, his stats were better than Ben's were in that game.
Yeah.
And he's a high young quarterback. He's the future of the franchise. This is his time to shine.
Yeah,
and he's doing it.
Yeah, and not to interrupt, I think the Steelers did a great job, sitting him on the bench, letting him sit behind for a year or so. And then here you go. And, it's very nostalgic of, what happened with Ben, actually. Maddox goes out, Ben comes in.
That's right.
So, I mean, of course, Rudolph isn't getting off to the hot start that Ben did, all those years ago. But I watched the Monday Night Football game, and I'm not going to lie. I think the 3 young quarterbacks that the NFC North have, easily future stars. I thought that Rudolph played really good, and this comes from a Ravens fan. Honestly, I'm biased here. I thought he did really good. I thought for a young man on Monday Night Football, to show up against a team in the Bengals where it's always scrappy, Pittsburgh and Cincinnati, it's always scrappy. He made it out unscathed with a win, and it was one of those things where I had to stop and question, and this is where, I have to ask, was it a matter of the Steelers finally getting shit right, or was it a case that the Bengals are absolutely one of the most horrible teams in the NFL?
I think it's kind of a combination of the two.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we needed a win to keep us, keep us on the board and keep us in the, on par with the division.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like you said, the Bengals are just a dumpster fire. They're the new Browns in the division.
Yeah.
And
absolutely terrible.
So we had 2 0-3 teams playing on Monday Night Football.
Somebody had to win.
And somebody had to win. Thankfully, it was the Steelers. We needed that win. And the defense looked really good. Our defense put up 8 sacks.
Yeah, that was something.
Which was huge.
That, and going into Sunday, when we go to Pittsburgh, that's something that concerns me. That pass rush looked fantastic. Now, again, the Bengals aren't the same organization as the Ravens, and their offenses are 2 completely different offenses.
Yeah, night and day.
But the Bengals have decent enough receivers. Ravens have really good receivers. The difference is, and I think it's going to come to, what this game is going to come down to, quarterback versus quarterback.
Yep.
Who can stay upright and who can play the best.
Yep,
now, with
absolutely.
the Ravens, the biggest question right now, one of the biggest questions is the pass rush. Pass rush was virtually non-existent. They barely got any pressure, not to mention the holes in the secondary. But like I said, Marlon Humphrey he can't cover the whole damn field, and I think that's the problem. Earl Thomas letting up on plays, that ain't going to fly here.
You get burned every time.
Yeah, yes, you look great against Miami, and again, Miami easily another dumpster fire, and probably easily the second worst team in the NFL. And I honestly think the Dolphins could beat the Bengals after what I saw last night, though. But
probably
it was just, I think this game is going to be a pretty tough game for both teams. I think this is a hell of an introduction, because I don't think Lamar actually played in the Steelers game last year. Actually, he wasn't the starter. It was. I think that was.
So this is
big. So this is him and Mason's first shot at each other, and hopefully this becomes one of those fun rivalries the AFC North is known to have.
Right.
But I don't know. I'm interested to see how this game goes. I honestly think If I had to make a bet here today, I'm going to go with my team. I'm going to go with the Ravens. I think it's going to be a very close one. I think they're going to play a little bit more conservatively. I don't think they'll be as aggressive on the field this weekend. But I think it's going to be aggressive enough to get a win, in my opinion.
This definitely will be interesting. I think it's going to come down to, as it always does, a 3-point margin, or I hate to say it, but maybe overtime, depending on how things play out in the fourth quarter. These teams know each other very well.
Very well.
And they in a lot of ways they complement each other really well, I think. And it's my favorite rivalry in football.
Yeah,
it's the best rivalry in football.
Yeah, hands down.
But I can't go against my team. I got to go with Pittsburgh. I'd be a traitor if I chose the Ravens in a matchup.
Now here's the thing. Right now we're sitting with, you guys are 1-3, us at 2-2. You have the Browns somehow on top of the AFC North. Who saw that shit coming? I guess everybody did, but except for
Must
me.
be snowing in hell right now.
Yeah, right? Anyways, but this is do or die for both teams. I mean, this literally sets both teams up for the future because if the Steelers win, there's momentum in their favor. They have a game over the Ravens. If the Ravens win, that's a game over the Steelers. Likely with record, I believe they would be on top.
Yep.
Yeah, if it were to go that way. So this is do or die for both teams. I mean, I honestly think this should be the Monday night or Sunday night primetime game. But
unfortunately, it's not.
We don't have the authority on that one. Whatever. But no, it's going to be an exciting game. It's early in the season. One of those tilt games where we can see how the division goes from here. Because I don't think the Bengals are going to pose a threat to anybody. Hopefully, knocking on wood, because the Bengals get crazy when they come to Baltimore too. But
you never know. Sometimes they play the upset, just like the Browns.
Exactly. Now,
I was just going to say this game is kind of a conundrum for me because, I need the Steelers to win, but Lamar Jackson's my fantasy quarterback. So I need some. He's been getting me hella points the last couple of weeks.
And, we've talked about this a few episodes.
We have.
Mr. Mike here has, as people probably remember have watched our show, this man drafted Lamar Jackson in the first round, and people thought he was an idiot. Until the first couple of weeks. And it was like, oh, shit, Lamar Jackson's improved. And you didn't look like an idiot. So
I did the first week because I benched him.
That's right. Fuck, that's right. Yeah.
But I also do have Justin Tucker, best kicker in the game. Like I said, I'm not a Ravens fan, but I got to give respect where it's due.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's get good points from me every week too. So
I think you're a secret Ravens fan.
You think I'm a Steelers fan?
I think you're a secret Ravens fan. You want all our players.
Fan by name only.
I was looking to get Lamar Jackson actually second, probably as my backup quarterback because I have Pat Mahomes, but whatever. But
I just recognize talent where it is, bro. Gotta give their credit. Gotta give the respect where it's due.
Exactly.
It is what it is.
Now on to the game ball because we don't have an episode of Third and Goal where I usually give the weekly LSO game ball. This week I'm giving the game ball to my boy Marlon Humphreys, single-handedly shutting down one of the best receivers in the NFL and quite honestly being the one bright spot on the defense. So big shout out to him. Easily probably one of the best corners in the NFL right now. And he's a young player, so he's got all the future ahead of him. But honestly, must-see football. Baltimore versus Pittsburgh this weekend. Right. Sunday at 1
o'clock,
on CBS. Thank God, because I hate watching football on Fox.
Yeah.
But yeah, that does it for our show. Mike, it's been great to have you on the table, brother.
Thanks
filling up for Jordan. Don't forget to stay tuned for, we have some UFC videos coming this week and also more updates on our first ever full-length film project, Beyond the Veil. We will put the link for that Instagram down below and also some information on that as well. So take care. Have a great night.